So then I threw some shade at the Big Ten, talking about how they should get rid of divisions, and they will be doing that, not this season, but next season with USC and UCLA joining Big Ten. They are going to get rid of the divisions. So before I get into who I think is going to win the Big Ten, um, I'm going to say just avoid any talk of a bias or anything like that. So I am a supporter of Ohio State athletics. It's not my favorite team. My favorite team is Cincinnati because I do have immediate family that did go to the University of Cincinnati, including both of my siblings. So I am a supporter of Ohio State athletics. So when I say this, I'm not saying this from a position of being biased by any means. Um, I really do think Michigan has what it takes to win the Big Ten for the third year in a row. Now, how Michigan is going to win the Big Ten, it really comes down to two games because we're going to be honest. Michigan does not have a tough schedule until we get to November. Uh, they start with Rutgers. Rutgers should be an easy win. Nebraska is rebuilding. I expect Michigan to be favored in every game through October. November, it gets very interesting because they take two of the three big dogs in the Big Ten East. And you want to talk about possibly the toughest division in college football. You have to have the Big Ten Eastern Division as the toughest division because whoever finishes third is going to be the best third place team in college football, right? Because last year, Penn State went 9-3. They ended up winning 10 games. They won the Rose Bowl against Utah. So that was their third place team, right? That was what the third place team in that division did. Michigan saw them in the college football playoff, as did Ohio State. It's rare to see two teams from the same conference make it to the college football playoff. It's even more rare to see two teams from the same division make it into the college football playoff as well. But it's going to come down to two games. They're on the road November 11th at Penn State. It is a noon game, but still a very intense environment. Happy Valley is going to be loud. And then we all know about the game at the end of the season, November 25th. They host Ohio State in the game. And I thought about this long, and I really did thought about this long and hard in terms of who I thought was going to be that Big Ten champion, who I think is going to be at this point. And I look towards Michigan because I look at Ohio State and Penn State. I think right now they both have too many questions for me. So for Ohio State, we still don't know who the starting quarterback is going to be. Could be Kyle McCord, but we don't know how Kyle McCord is going to be. He was a highly talented recruit. Don't get me wrong. Kyle McCord was extremely talented, right? Kyle McCord was somebody who, if we're going to be realistic, either like a high-end 4-star player or even a 5-star. I'll have to look into that later, but either way, highly talented recruit for Ohio State. But we haven't really seen him play, right? We've seen him start against Akron. That is the only start to my knowledge that he's had. And, it's Akron, so really not much that you can really say when his only start was against Akron. We've seen him in mop-up duty. But more importantly, well, not only that, does Ohio State have enough depth on the offensive line? They lost a lot to the NFL. Multiple guys went pro, most notably Paris Johnson Jr. on that offensive line. They had arguably the best offensive line in the entire country last year. They were certainly top 5. They are certainly up there as well. And Jim Knowles, can he make that defense have enough of a strive to be a legitimate national championship contender? They almost won a national championship, and that defense was leaky for Ohio State. But do they make enough of a stride, particularly in rush defense, particularly to stop this Michigan offense. And I'm honestly not sure. And that's, similar questions that I have with Penn State as well. We know that Drew Aller is a 5-star. We know that he has a lot of hype, and a lot of folks think that he can be better than Sean Clifford, who started at Penn State for what seemed like half a century. But I have similar questions with Penn State that I do Ohio State, and Penn State doesn't even have the same level of athletes. Like, they have a really good team, but they don't have the horses that Ohio State has. So I think Penn State could possibly compete for a conference championship, national championship next year. But I think Penn State would finish third again. Really, for Michigan, I don't really have those same questions. I'm not really concerned about anything. I think Michigan's the most complete team. JJ McCarthy, he may not be the best quarterback in the world. He's probably an above average QB, but in that Ohio State game, the first few quarters, Blake Corum was contained pretty well by the Ohio State defense. And it was JJ McCarthy that really had to go out and make some big time throws, get those massive chunk plays in order to ensure the Michigan offense can keep up with Ohio State. And he was capable of doing that. And as for what happened in the college football playoff game, well, yeah, he might have thrown a couple of interceptions, but that defense also gave up 50 points. It's not all on JJ McCarthy. So the concerns I have with Michigan isn't in the conference levels if they take that final step to get to a national championship game and possibly win the national championship. Now, that being said, I think Ohio State could have the biggest upside, because what we have seen in the last 4 years between 2019 LSU, 2020 Alabama, and then the last two Georgia teams, they're all teams that had the most first-round picks in the NFL draft, and I think Ohio State could be that based on what we've seen in terms of early projections of the mock draft community. But if you want to talk about right now, you want to talk about today, I genuinely think Michigan will be hoisting that Big Ten championship trophy at the end of the year. Although I wouldn't be shocked if Ohio State won it either. If you're going to ask me today, I'm going to go with Michigan.